Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us. We are at day 4 of the Author Equals Authority Summit. Today, I am here with Alice Pallum. She is the CEO of AMP Business Coaching and Consulting, and she works with business owners to work out their plans and manage their time and help them with their goal setting. And so she's going to help you in the world of authorship today. Welcome, Alice, and thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for the invitation, Latara. I appreciate it.
So tell everybody a little bit about yourself and your background.
I would be happy to do that. So my background, it's always easy to start with that part, right? I spent 17 years in corporate America land. And when I left American Express at the time, I started my own company. I knew that I put a lot of time in at that one career, and I want to have a little more control over my own destiny. So I thought my own business was a great place to start. Have been excited and happy ever since. Very happy to work with business owners and bring together that corporate experience. I ran a department, so all that planning, budgeting, goal setting, contingency planning, keeping things on track. And now I'm actually in my 19th year in my own business, so I can marry those two experiences together and bring the best of both worlds, as it were. Love problem solving. Yeah, thanks.
I'm sorry, go ahead, keep going.
No, I was gonna say, I love problem solving too. So that's one of the things I always work with my clients is, what's that roadblock? What's the problem? What's holding you up? And let's figure out the real root cause of what's causing that, not just the symptom of it, but what's really causing that thing to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So like we're getting lots of complaints is a symptom of what problem that's causing that to happen.
Got it. Wow. Okay. So you're like a doctor.
We don't need to change
for business
branding,
owners.
Yeah. Yeah. So as we figure that out, then we have the plan in place to take care of it and move on to the next thing.
That is awesome. Awesome. Okay, so would you like to go ahead and share your presentation, or do you want to dialogue a little longer?
Well, we can go ahead and get started.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that if you had anything else to disclose, now is your opportunity.
Anything else to disclose? I think we're doing it at the end.
Oh, okay, we'll do that.
The rest of the story is at the end, right?
Okay, perfect.
Partly why we're here today, right? Yeah. This picture might look familiar. So as Latara talked about, a lot of what I do is planning, goal setting, what's going on. So I thought perfect way to apply that to your journey to being an author. Because we can talk about how you're going to utilize your time with that, what are the steps you need to take. So I think it's a great marriage of those two things. Or not. There we go. I'm like, why is that screen not changing? So the first thing to think about is, what's your destination? So in this case, we're using being an author as that example of a destination. One of the things I love about SMART goals, it gives you a framework to kind of build those goals around and make sure you're remembering everything. So the first piece of SMART goals is to be very specific. You can't just say, kind of have I want to be an author sometime in the next 25 years. That's not very, very specific, right? You kind of need a little more detail into that to actually build a plan to achieve that. So that's why you want to be specific. You want to have a measurable component, because how do you know if you're being successful or moving towards that destination if you don't have a way to measure it? Being achievable. As we kind of work through this, you don't want to make such big chunks that you'll never get there. You want to build a plan that has milestones in it to celebrate success along the way. So you know you're making progress. You're being rewarded for that, whatever you decide your reward is. But it always helps make sure that you can see that you're making progress, not just have such a big goal that, you know, at the end of the year, you're able to measure it. Relevant ties into, is it relevant to what your overall goals are? So if one of your goals is to create that authority within your niche and be able to do speaking engagements and have that knowledgeable credibility right off the bat, this being an author flows right into that. And of course, we talked about timely, which is that you've got that time bound. And again, it's not like 10 years from now. It's I want to do this in the next year or the next 6 months or whatever kind of timing makes sense for you. So that's the piece of the framework about setting that goal in the first place. And this can be chunked into pieces of, we're going to talk a little bit about my journey at the end a little bit, but I started my author journey by doing a chapter. That was a nice little chunk to bite off and be that first step into authorship. When you have decided what that goal is, you know, put it at the top. This is an example of a worksheet that we use in the broader class. You put that goal at the top, and then you're going to talk about a couple of different things as you go through this. One, what are those actual action steps that you need to take? For an example, one action step might be to identify your topic. What is the thing you're passionate about that you want to share with the world? What is something that will help you build that credibility towards your final destination that you want to be in that niche? So picking what that topic is going to be. Then running through things like creating an outline. That would be a great next step, right? Here's my topic, here's my outline. When you have the outline, you're going to start building your chapters or your pieces. You'll probably want somebody to review it for you. That would be a step along the way, right? You're going to want to get some input. I know I did. I sent my chapter to a couple of different people that first time to get some feedback from people I trusted, that I knew would tell me if they thought it was good or not, and if they thought it was true to the topic I was speaking about, or writing about, I should say. Then you need to do things like find a publisher. I know you've probably heard a lot about a great publisher already. You'll hear a little bit more about that in a couple more days. Who's going to do that for you? And then the plan that they share with you to achieve that goal. I always want to talk about contingency planning. So on this worksheet, you see there's obstacles and setbacks. So if you think about the obstacles that might be in your way and have a little thought about what the solution is before you even get started, you'll be much better situated when that obstacle appears. You know, time might be one of those obstacles, and we're going to talk about time as well today. So time, trepidation, you know, one of your obstacles might be you're not confident about writing. So what are you going to do to help or create a solution for that if it comes up? What if you write something the first time you don't like it? You know, that's having a little time built in to rewrite things. I know I did that. My final chapter is in that first book is a lot different than the initial version of it. It worked for me to kind of become inspired after going through the first draft. So those are the kind of things to think about in this planning. And it's really important to identify those action steps, who owns it. You know, in this case, most of them are probably you. But as you look at the plan, there's probably steps that other people can take for you, or actually it's their role, again, with the publisher as being an example. Then what's the target date? You want to be able to kind of plan that schedule so you know the order things need to happen in. What is the expected timing between them? Again, how do you know you're on track if you have a bunch of list of things to do and just say, I'll be done at the end? You want to really set out what those target dates are to move in that direction. Does that resonate with anybody? Kind of making sense to how you build that picture? Excellent. So we're going to shift a little bit into the time piece now. So one thing you really want to do to be effective with your time or navigate it, as I say, is to identify your most productive time of day. And there's a couple ways that we work on that. One, and this is kind of this ultradian rhythms. Who's heard of ultradian rhythms? Kind of a concept may or may not heard of. There's lots of different rhythms people talk about, right? Well, this one talks about your working during the day kind of process. When you're at your top performance, when you're running low and need to be refueled, how you're at your top performance again. There's a cycle. This one pictured here is the average, but it is definitely different by person. I can tell you, because I've gone through this exercise with a lot of people, lots of different professions, different walks of life, and lots of differences based on your own makeup, what you do, because some of that forces your rhythm, right? Based on when you need to be, are you on call? Do you have a set schedule? That affects how this all works together. Oops, one too far. So this is an example of how you can start to work on that, which is to keep track of what you're doing all day, which I know sometimes seems to be a big exercise, but if you don't know what you're doing, it's hard to make some changes, make it efficient or effective, right? So do you track what you're doing and how you're feeling? Are you focused? Are you energized? Are you enthusiastic? Or are you at ones in all those categories? You're not very focused. It's like, I can't keep track of what I'm doing. Or you are not enthusiastic. You're like, why am I doing this? Or your energy level is lower because it is, right? So this will help you identify when you're most productive. Of course, you're going to be closer to 5s on those productive times of day. This again is so individualized that, like, I'm a night owl, so I'm very active. Like, this is a great time for me. I'll be working the next several hours because this is my peak performance time, right? Other people, peak performance is in the morning. They're a go-getter. At that time of day, they get a lot done as the sun comes up. And this time of night, they start to drag a little bit because it's not their productive time of day. The other fantastic thing that this exercise does for you is helps identify where you're spending your time and do some review of that to say, is this productive for me to do? Is this moving me towards my goals? Is this serving a purpose for me? Or has this become a habit? I'm just so used to doing this, I keep doing it, but there's no reason for it anymore. It doesn't, again, serve my purpose anymore. It's from an old group I used to work with, or it's an old habit that I don't need anymore. It helps you be able to go through that process with all the stuff you're doing. So when we talked about looking at where you're spending your time and what you're doing, so what we've done so far, we're tracking when we're productive. We are tracking towards our goal. And now we're going to look at how do those things serve us that we're actually spending our time doing all day. So this is an exercise I love to do, is you take a look at, you start in that lower right-hand corner. What do I just not need to do anymore? It does, again, it doesn't serve a purpose. It has no relationship to what I'm doing currently. It's something that's a hangover from my last job or my last role or my last whatever, right? Your last volunteer experience. It's just one of those things that hangs around. So it doesn't need to be done. Just get it off the list to begin with. Then we take a look at what's still on the list and say, what can be delegated or outsourced? What am I spending my time doing that doesn't need to be me because of my authority or my expertise? It still needs to be done. You know, the easiest example of this in most of our worlds is bookkeeping. Is that, for example, that's not my prime skill set. That's something that I outsource to somebody who's an expert at it. Takes them a lot less time to do it than it would me because I'm not an expert at it. And it keeps me from doing the things that are more productive for me to be spending my expertise on. Defer is defer because it's a D, but I like to use the word schedule, because defer doesn't mean you just keep pushing it off. It means schedule where it falls appropriately. Because it could be something that, here's a task I need to do a month from now. I don't need to take the time to do it right this second while I'm working on my high priority do it things, but I can put it on my calendar in 3 weeks to say, let's get it done at that point in time. So it's being able to take a look at everything on your list and schedule it appropriately. And then, of course, you're left with the do it things. Do it right now. It needs to be done today, tomorrow. It can't be scheduled because it's the things that you might have scheduled that are now due, right? So delete, delegate, schedule, and do it. A great way to look at what you just tracked, all those things you did for the last several days, and be able to now start to make those decisions about it. Is that making sense for people? I see some nodding. Thank you. So now we're gonna spend a little time talking about how to put all of these pieces together. So first of all, preparation. Again, so I'm a night owl, so I prep the night before. I like to go through what's on my list, what I kept track of on my parking lot. We'll talk about that a little bit down that list. But I do my prep the night before. Because when I get up in the morning, I just want to be ready for my first thing. It's kind of the way I operate. For morning, people that are most ready in the morning, they tend to plan their day. They review their day that morning. What's going on? What am I doing today? Because they're 2 or 3 or 4 hours away from that first meeting. Looking at a week out. This is a great way not to catch yourself with not enough prep time for something. So let's say a week out, you have a meeting with a client or a potential client, and there's some prep you needed to do. You want to make sure that's on your calendar and a week out versus on that day. So let's go back to our author example for that, right? So you want to make sure that you have that time between outline, identifying your topic and outline, and then drafting that first piece of content. You don't want those back to back, right? You might have a little research to do based on what your topic is. You might have some interviews to do with people to remind you about what's going on with your topic. If you're looking for some input from other experts in the field, that would be some of the pre-work to do before you're going to write that first draft. So make sure, again, you had those steps planned and that you have that time on your calendar. I'm a huge proponent for it. If it's not on your calendar, it's not getting done. Because if you don't have those tasks lined out with the time to do them, often they fall to the wayside. It's like, oh my gosh, I should have done those 3 things today, but I didn't have any time. And that's, of course, because you didn't have the time on your calendar to do them. Moving it pertains to, if it's on your calendar and you got through these processes we've talked about, it's on your calendar for a reason. So don't just delete it, move it to a different spot. Because depending, again, on what else you're doing on your way to authorship, you might have clients calling or kid responsibilities or elderly parent responsibilities or other things that's going on in your world, right? That might become an urgent priority. So don't delete it, move it to a different spot in time. Having that daily checklist, like there's some things I always want to make sure I do every day. Some that I'm still getting good at or learning to all do my social media posting, right? Make sure I get those things done so that I'm consistent. So I have it on a list to make sure I can check it off. I make sure when I do my end of the day review that I've gotten through my emails that needed to be addressed. And if you guys are like me, you've got more than one communication method, right? So I've got emails, I've got WhatsApp messages, I've got Facebook messages, I've got Slack messages, I've got Microsoft Teams messages. So I want to make sure I've gone through all of those and address the ones that need to be addressed right now, or schedule the work for it appropriately. Could this be replied to tomorrow? Can I, do they need some information so I can say, hey, got your email or whatever the message is, I will get that to you Tuesday, or schedule appropriately. Communication is such a great tool to not end up in those, oh my gosh, oh, you thought I was doing that for you tomorrow? Didn't I tell you I'm doing it on Tuesday? You know, that communication piece really helps you keep things on track. I love the parking lot. Like today for me, all of a sudden I had a couple things come up that were urgent, emergencies with my clients, my day of having my time blocked out to do some other work got pushed aside a little bit. So as things came up, I write them down in the parking lot. So a call comes in, a message comes in, you have a great idea. I will say often when I'm doing presentations like this, I'll think of something that, hey, this would be great to do for a different presentation. It'd be great to do for a different class. I just make a note of it on my parking lot. So it doesn't distract me from what I'm doing right this minute, but I know that I'm not worried about forgetting it because I wrote it down on the parking lot. So my end of the day list includes looking at the parking lot. And again, what can be scheduled? Is there something I can delegate to somebody else? But you've processed that, so you're not concerned about losing something or forgetting something. Timer is a great tool in a couple of different reasons. If you are working on a task that does not excite you, but needs to get done, it is great to set a timer for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So you know, I just got to get through this for 20 minutes and I get to take a break. I get to walk around the block or go get a drink of water, or in my case, blast some rock and roll music, which kind of re-energizes me. And or the complete opposite end of the spectrum. I've worked with several clients who they get so engrossed because they love what they're doing. It's like, oh my God, it's been 3 hours. I was working on this. I should have been doing X, Y, or Z. So again, you set the timer to bring your attention to what the time is. And if you can keep going what you're doing, great, just reset the timer. If, oh my gosh, I do need to switch to this other task, or I need to get in the car to go someplace, you didn't just work through and miss that. So the timer is a fantastic tool. And of course, we talked about reviewing the day. So at the end of the day or morning, if you're a morning person, doing that daily review to make sure all the things that need to be addressed got addressed. Does that make sense? Kind of cool. I like nodding. It's so quiet, but nodding is good. Oops. My mouse is getting a little sensitive, right? So taking that first step. So think about some of the stuff that I shared today and what resonates with you. What do you think can help improve your time navigation or achieving the goal that you want? And actually for today, especially, what's that first step to becoming an author for you? Do you have some ideas that have been rolling around in your head? You're like, oh, this might be something that people would like to hear about. Or in my case, other people were telling me that they wanted to hear about it. So I had to work through a process to decide I was okay to start talking about it. So my first chapter in my first book was about my recovery from my stroke. So about 10 years ago, I had a stroke. People were telling me about 9 months afterwards already, you got to tell the story. You got to tell people about it. You got to share how you've gone through this. And of course, 9 months after a stroke, I'm like, no, I'm not talking about it. My recovery is still in process. I wasn't myself yet. I was like, I am not talking about this. So 8 years later, a colleague introduced me to Linda West, and Linda talked to me about what my story is. I said a lot of the same things. This is a great story to tell. And it was getting easier for me to contemplate going through that process now at 8 years later. The journey was fantastic because it reminded me of how far I've come. Right after my stroke, they weren't sure how well I'd recover. I actually had 2 strokes in a row, one overnight and another one the next day. And I had fun things going on, like aphasia. So I heard stories later of my brother standing right in front of me, like my brother standing right here, apparently. I had no reaction to him. I was only reacting to pain. So it was good. It was a great journey to go back in time and say, wow, this is really where it was 8 years ago. And look at how far I've actually come through that. Or shortly, I don't know. So I'm going to say year 1 and 2, I would hear from people. There might have been a reason for me to share it with them. They go, I would never know. I could never tell you've had a stroke. And as that got easier, it got easier again. It got closer to that point of me being able to write about it and actually, oh my gosh, if other people read about it, right? So for you, again, taking that first step on your journey to being an author, what is the topic that works for you? Again, is it something you're passionate about? Is it something that people wish you would share? Some of your own personal journey that people would feel get strength from, motivation from, that kind of thing. And I am just looking, we had some stuff going on in the chat. Oh, thank you. I'm not sure if we have any questions that we're not missing it.
Well, I didn't know if you were going to have a Q&A time since you're all about time. I thought maybe you had like a specific time for that, but yeah, I can read some of the comments in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay. Kimberly said, I love the parking lot idea. Also the planning the day around your rhythms. Cool. She mentioned a pretty, let's see. I wonder what you do when you can work morning or evening. You start early, but then you go in your office at 10 p.m. and work until 1 a.m. Now you don't have enough sleep. I do that all of the time.
Yes,
yes.
Well, there's a couple ways to look at that. I have done that in my life at periods of time where I need to get stuff done in the morning for whatever reason, and then take a nap, like an hour nap in the middle of the day, or like 5 o'clock, and then I'm revitalized to work for several more hours. So it's kind of looking at, and again, that's part of your rhythm, right? Some people cannot nap during the day. It just, throws them off completely. So look at where you can get those cat naps in. Look at what's that driver of splitting that time up. And it might be that you are a napper and that's okay. I know one example I'll share. I have a client that's a mortgage broker who's a morning person. So he was up early in the morning, going to the gym. And until he went through that exercise of tracking his day and how he felt and when he was enthusiastic, he learned a couple of key things. One, he didn't realize how low he got in the afternoon until he was actually tracking it and looking at that. And one thing we did is move his workout time to about 2 p.m. instead of the morning. That got him out of the office, got him revitalized, and he was great the rest of that day and early evening. As you might imagine, working with people getting their mortgages, you need to work around their schedule often, right? Not your own. So that got him revitalized in that way. The other thing he noticed, again, tracking his time, is that when he was in the office in the morning, he was very unproductive because everyone would stop in and say, hey, hi, what's going on? How was your day? What's going on? And so one of the things we did is he didn't go in the office until 10. So he could work very intently on things that needed that thought process time, that figuring it out time, and in the morning, and then went in the office at 10, which also kind of helped him avoid the everybody else coming in the office and saying hi kind of piece right in the morning. How are we doing on time, Latara?
We're doing fine. We have plenty of time.
Okay.
I didn't know if Kimberly wanted to come out a little bit and talk a little bit more about that that chat message or not, Kimberly. If not, that's okay.
Yeah. No pressure at all.
Yeah, I was being in the background today, Latara, because I have to go. I have a meeting at 7:30, so I was going to jump off of here before
no
7.
pressure. I'm sorry.
And
no,
and get my go get dressed and everything. Because I've had too many deep conversations today, so I'm a little off on my schedule. But
I understand that.
I like what Alice said about he didn't realize until he really actively tracked it, right? Yep. And also, I think that's the key, because maybe I might think that I'm working so well in the morning, I'm working all day, then I'm working well into the night. Like, last night I'm thinking, I'm going to go to bed because I didn't feel well. So I'm going to be in the bed by 11. And I've been up very early, had a very productive day. And it happened 2 nights in a row, in fact. Go in there around 10. I think last night it was 9:15, stopped at 1 something. And it just keeps happening. But it's by virtue of having the blessing for having a pretty flexible schedule right now based on my clients and such. But I loved what you said, also that once he had an assessment and had knowledge, then he took action to capitalize on that, right? To capitalize on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, great point, because it's one thing to know the information, right? And just sit there or do something about it.
Yes.
Yeah, I
So
love that.
I thought that was really good information. So I appreciate that. And thank you for that, Alice and Latara.
Well, you're very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate the input in the comments.
All right. So another question is from Sally. She said, how do you manage when your schedule is totally different every day, depending on the day of the week? That is a really good question.
And Sally,
Sally?
mine is
Oh,
like
I'm
that
sorry.
way
I
a
was
lot
gonna see
too.
if you wanted to-
Oh, what? Yeah.
I was going to see if Sally wanted to pop in to the conversation or not. It's okay if you don't want to.
Sure.
Here, let
I'll
me
hop
spotlight you here. There we go.
Oh, you're
Hello.
spotlighted, Sally.
Hi.
Sally
Hi,
was
Sally.
our guest speaker on day 2. So thank you so much for being here again today, Sally.
Yeah,
Sally
I
is
love
fantastic.
the talking about the schedule, because my schedule is just like, I mean, there are days when I have to be up at 6, 7 o'clock because I'm doing something, and then other days I can sleep in and I'm working till 1, 2 in the morning, So I hear listening to Kimberly, and it's like I can't plan to do anything, like, even to just do something like the same time of day every day, because every day is
It's
different.
different. Are you, and totally, I get that, because mine is often the same way as well. Like,
Well, plus I have like 3 or 4 different jobs.
oh, really?
I'm working. I'm
Oh,
doing all
are
kinds of
you,
stuff.
you're in that entrepreneur book too, aren't you?
Yes.
So one, the publishing company Sally works for is the one that I have published with, and she's been a great part of the journey on the second book as well. She just wasn't in the role in the first book, but you're in the first book.
Right. I am in
And
it. That's what got me started in it, because I was in it.
Mhm.
And I was doing behind the scenes stuff, but we weren't telling anybody. So
So entrepreneurs often have more than one thing going on, right? Especially in the current environment, you want more than one thing going on, multiple streams of income, not just everything in one pot, right?
well, and it's not even that. I mean, because I do things like volunteer with the church that I need to put into my schedule, and I have parents, my parents who are, I need help, so I'm over there for a couple of times a week. So it's not just the money, the working part, but it's other obligations that I have throughout the week and on different days.
Yes. So of course, you start with the ones that can be or have to be, right? Like I'm on the board of directors for a couple of different companies. So those board meetings are on there because that's when they're going to happen, right? I can't change the board meeting time. So start with the things that you know are static, because either of that, you don't have control over them, but you need to be there. Or it does work out to do that thing at that time of day. Then make sure you're doing that review time and reviewing a week out, so you can move stuff around before you get on top of it when you can. If let's say next week I'm going to a meeting in the state next door, lovely Wisconsin. And so that day, my whole day is different because I'm leaving early in the morning to get out there by the time that works. So I plan ahead a little bit about, one, I'm not going to be up as late on Monday night because I need to be up earlier on Tuesday morning, and schedule the things that I normally would do on that Tuesday, because all that travel time takes up my day, right? And have it scheduled to the day that it will work. So are your days different because stuff comes up last minute, or just because every day is different because there's less different stuff going on?
Every day, because I have different stuff going on. I mean, I have a business that I do with my husband that we work on certain days, and then I'm doing the publishing, which I'm doing mostly. I do that in the evenings because I work with Linda, who's in California, and I'm in Connecticut. So I do that a lot in the evenings, and then I have my church stuff that I do, and so I'm I teach at the church, so I have those classes and those are
Mhm.
certain days. And then, I got my parents that my mom has Alzheimer's, so I'm dealing with that and having to do a doctor appointments and making sure they have food and cooking for them and going over and
Yes.
visiting them. So every day is a different day for me. So finding time, I find that, finding time to sit and write for me, because it's probably just because of the season of my life and where I am, that have just so much going on right now that finding that extra time for just me is hard.
Have you gone through that exercise lately of what could get removed from your calendar?
No, but I probably should.
Well, because it's like creating the time. Is there something that can leave or
Right.
something that someone else could do to help you? And then, since it sounds like you can plan ahead a little bit, is that would be one of the things as you're reviewing your schedule for the week out kind of idea is, okay, is there a couple pockets here that I can put that writing time in?
Right. Yeah.
Because that's a great example, because oftentimes being an author is not our only thing going on. So you need to find those pockets of time you can sit. And again, depending on your style, if you need to sit in silence to write, I don't function at all in silence. I have to have some noise going on.
Me too.
It's music or something else. And then find those pockets and be aware of what your environment needs to be productive at writing, for example, and then be able to plan that. Is it a different spot in your house or your office? Is it that music going on, or the news in the background, or the weather in the background, whatever your personal preferences are, but have that environment set up so you can be successful in the time you have allotted.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Questions are, a main piece of these presentations.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Sally. All right. We do have I don't know if this is a question, but Christine says my husband does shift work every 2 weeks, it looks like. Is that right? So it's from 4:45 a.m. and home 3:15 p.m. The next 2 weeks, he leaves at 12:45 p.m. to 11:15. I find this challenging because I want time with him. I also book off Monday mornings with my parents. Christine, would you like to come up and talk a little bit?
Sure. I apologize. I had something else and I could only come in. So I've missed some very key important things of your talking. So
No worries. We'll let you
Yeah,
have the
no.
replays.
yes, thank you. Thank you. For myself, I would like to spend time with my husband at lunch when he doesn't leave for work till 12:45. And then I want some supper time with him when he's gone earlier. And I'm wondering how much of it is just an excuse, to that I juggle my schedule around his life, like his work, when I should really just, he's sleeping still at 9 a.m, but I should be up and working. But when he comes home at 11:15, I don't feel like going to bed till 1, 2 o'clock. That's a
Mhm.
problem when I have to be up for 9 o'clock clients. So I'm just wondering, do you have, and as I said, I apologize because I didn't hear
Oh, no problem.
your wisdom earlier, but do you have suggestions for that? Like, do I just have to get over that and be a professional and set hours? Or, as a home-based business, I wanted to have variety, but I'm concerned there's too many excuses that have crept in. And as my health is improving, those excuses aren't there. They're not reasons anymore. They're excuses.
Mhm. Well, one, it sounds like you're doing a great job of self-identification. I mean, you're realizing that this might be an issue. I mean, which is great, because
Okay.
being aware of it is the first step to doing something about it, right?
Okay, true.
And I would say, so one thing I'd say is it tracks back to what your priorities are.
Okay.
So look at what's important to you in both of those categories, right? Work and personal.
Okay.
And if you go down the path of, and I totally get it. If my husband's getting home, well, what if I had a husband and then was getting home at 11 o'clock, I'd want to stay awake with him for a while. So
Right.
can you schedule your next morning? Because it sounds like you have a 2-week cycle, right? His
Right.
shift work is 2 weeks. Can you arrange your calendar on that same 2-week schedule?
So, some of it, yes. And I've done some of that. I actually
Okay.
have.
Okay.
You know, my chiropractor does happen to be at 9:30 in the morning. So whether he sleeps in, I can't, but that's one of the days. So, of the week, you know, and
Mhm.
then the Wednesday would be kind of the same thing, but it's not till 10. I can grab an extra hour. Now, having said all of that from a sleep pattern, then there's also not consistency of sleep. But I may need to just do better with an evening, a before bed pattern at whatever time it is. Because I know for him, if he's getting a bit tired, he will use music. Enya is our friend. You cannot drive in a vehicle playing Enya because we would probably be in an accident because we would both be asleep. So
Mhm.
there's triggers he's had to do. And I guess I just haven't used them myself. I haven't maximized it.
Well, that's a great idea, because that's one thing I was going to say is if you have that nighttime before bed routine,
Just
that,
move it.
yeah, and it gives you
Mhm.
that's consistency.
Right.
And if it's those things that help you go to sleep when you're maybe going to sleep earlier,
Right.
or you're more hyped up about it, right? But you know you need to go to bed.
Yes.
It's that that kind of,
trigger.
yeah, that thing that can help you. Is it
Mhm.
white noise? Is it that particular music? What is the thing? And that parking lot can be used at night as well. So if you have lots of stuff running around your head, I know that happens to me. So I'm not going to sleep even though I think I'm tired or I'm worn out, but my brain is still going at 100 miles a minute, writing that stuff out. So again, you know, you captured
Right.
it. It's not going to get
Right.
lost if you don't figure it out right now.
Mhm.
That can sometimes help you go in that
Right.
next mode of, I do need to go to sleep because I have to be up at whatever time in the morning.
Well, and I'm the type of person where I don't go to bed till I'm actually tired to go to sleep. Like when I hit the pillow, I can be out in 5 minutes or less. But I've also been known to be watching TV and actually fall asleep sitting up. So because I didn't realize I was as tired as I was. So there's some patterns that I'm sure that have to be brought in there to be more specifically. But for my husband, what he does, like he plays music on YouTube, and I'll admit we say all roads lead to Enya, because you can be listening to anything, any genre, whatever, and all of a sudden Enya comes in, and sometimes way faster than she's supposed to, and so it's just like we have to watch those. It's like whoa, that's just because I've asked him before. I said, are you needing a nap? He said, no, she just showed up. It's like, oh, okay. Because I didn't know you were, I'm off in the other room. I'm hearing the nice music, and all of a sudden it's Enya. And it's like, did you need to sleep? No, but he never used to nap at all. And I guess just because of him, I've allowed that, hey, I don't have clients. I've got this gap. I'll set a timer and I'll just allow myself to rest and recoup and then come back into place. But yeah, he's got some very key songs that he uses. And one day he was playing them because he was going to bed for his early shift. He's got to be in bed already before 9 o'clock at night. And I was listening to it and I was yawning and yawning and yawning. And I said to him, it's triggering me, but I'm not tired. Like I'm not going to fall asleep, but it was giving me those symptoms of wind down. So yeah, I think talking it through, I believe I am making the excuses. So if I can just there's nothing wrong with me being more calm and relaxed by the time he comes home at night. And then just, within an hour of him home, I could go off to bed, not 2 or 3.
Yeah,
Stuff
perfect.
like
I love
that.
that.
Okay.
And then,
So yeah.
or just say, and if him listening to music is triggering you, but it's not time for you to bed yet, Can you put a headset on and listen to some different music that'll wake you back up again? Or
Oh, well, I will sometimes leave the room, like it's, but you're right, I could do something different. And again, as I said, I had things I had to do at night. I just found that really neat that, hey, this is doing that effect, but my body is literally saying, no, you're not tired yet. You've still got more of your day. And legitimately, it wasn't time. Like I wasn't ready for bed. I still had longer till I could sleep. And my pattern is I'm more of a night person than a morning person. That actually is my pattern. So that's what makes it all the harder I want to stay up with him, but that, like, next week he'll be on days, and I was realizing, but we're on afternoon shift. I said right? We're on afternoon shift right now. But my schedule goes crazy next week because spring starts on Monday here in North America. And so my clients, I got morning clients, I have afternoon clients, I have evening clients. So the more I can shift here in the next 2 or 3 days puts me ready I can't sleep come that morning, but he will also have gone to bed already by 9. So if I can get myself to bed even 2 or 3 hours later, it would be midnight. If I'm up at 8, everything's ready. I just have to turn the heat on down here and I can be ready for the client at 9. So yeah, I think the patterns, I think it's come down to I'm using excuses. So thank you for letting me talk it out.
oh, you are very welcome. If you came up some great things while you were talking yourself through it. And that planning piece, because I just heard you talk about stuff's ready for you then already. Like you already got everything set up. All you have to do is turn the heat on.
Yeah.
So that's exactly another piece of that planning can be your friend.
Okay. And I look forward to hearing what you had about all the planning and all of that. I'm looking forward to it. I'm doing a bit of reverse thing, but as I said, I had another obligation that I was on there. So I'm glad that I can listen afterwards. So thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
Latara, how are we doing?
Pretty good. Let me do this. Terry Ann said, how does your husband adjust to the sleep pattern issue? I think that she kind of explained that it was like the sleep routine of listening to Anya was kind of his trigger, right, Christine? Is that pretty much how he adjusted his sleep pattern?
Yeah, very much. It's there's Lorena McKenna as well. Those are his 2 favorites, and he's got some very I think it's Lorena that has Dante's Prayer, and so that's our biggest trigger. If he's not going down, he can be playing, I mean, goodness, he could be doing classic rock, and then all of a sudden it mellows, or he's literally gone from that right to Enya. But then when he does Lorena McKenna's Dante's Prayer, that one it takes you from this and it just drops you right down and off to bed he goes, pretty much. It's just
I love that.
and again, you have to find your music, but
Yes.
that's what he's found is really good for him. They're calming. He finds her voice, Enya's, to be really angelic, and just it does something positive for him. It does bring him into a very relaxed state. And then, yeah, if he needs it, Lorena will do the Dante's Prayer. Now, some of Lorena's isn't as relaxing as Enya's. Like, Enya still has lots of music that's upbeat, but she's just a trigger for both of us. She's a trigger for me because she's the trigger for him. So because he listens, it's my same thing. So if we want to listen to Enya in the daytime and not sleep, the volume has to be up, or we
Do
will
not
both
operate heavy machinery.
we would no, definitely not. We can't have Enya in the car. Like, it's just unwise. No. So, but yeah, for him, now keep in mind, music is really important to him. It plays an integral role, and he has tinnitus. So music he doesn't then hear the ringing in his ears as much. He listens to Enya and other quiet music in the night. So not white noise, but music. And so that's why it triggers so well. But everyone has to find their own thing. But those are 2 that I recommend. because of, and you just look at relaxing music, just
Mhm.
something that you enjoy, doesn't have ads in it if you're listening on YouTube, because that's really annoying.
Yes.
But that's his pattern. And he was never a napper. He never did naps, but when he had to shift, you have to make those adjustments. So like our weekends are kind of pathetic because you don't know whether he's got the energy to do something or not. And so he'll get up in the morning and, it's like, okay, he's in afternoon shift. So he'll get up at 10 o'clock in the morning or something. And then he'll go down again somewhere at 3 or 4 because he's shifting. He allows himself to make that change. So then from a business standpoint or even a personal standpoint, well, how do I plan my day? So I'm needing to have some, again, I'm talking this out. I need to have some jobs that are short that I can just put in, or that might be an hour. I can usually have him need an hour nap if he was really tired. So what can I do in that hour when I'm not tired, he's sleeping, that I can still be productive? And then I can come and do more things with him once he's woken up again after being awake. It's a challenge. And there's memes out there that said, oh, we've got this event over the weekend. Well, I'll see about it. And by the time it's like, no, can't attend. It's the odds are we won't be doing something because of that. Now, what's really interesting too is with his shift changes, he doesn't have as much energy on the Saturday. He's more energetic on the Sunday. Well, that frees up the ability for me to go to the vendor craft shows and promote my business, because we'll get next to nothing done on the Saturday anyways. I don't even have to feel guilty about being away from him. I just have to be sure I'm still awake in the evening to spend a little bit of time with them. And then we can maximize our Sunday relaxingly and some efficient, 1 or 2 hours stuck into it.
Yeah.
So he still feels like he's got his day. But that's how weird I'm just glad we don't have children, because I don't know how I'd fit them into it.
Oh my goodness.
Everything.
Well, and you again just made some great observations, right? About that Saturday, Sunday cycle.
Yeah. And I only discovered, well, with COVID, of course, we were home together. So it just was whenever it happened, Saturday or Sunday. But now that I've been doing a lot more shows out, it was like, I was home for a Saturday and we were unproductive for like half the day to do something. I have no guilt now that I have to have about that I'm gone on a Saturday. He can veg out and do whatever and nap whenever. And, and so that freed me up a lot to go, no, I can build my business while he's just taking it easy. Sunday we'll still have our time together, even if there is a nap in it. And then back to work I go again on Monday afternoon.
That is perfect. Yeah.
Thanks.
No, thank you. That was great. Great dialogue.
Oh,
So I'm gonna.
Thanks, Kimberly.
I am going to hit this next slide. Boy, my computer must be half a tick behind. So take that first step. We just talked about lots of ways to take a first step to authorship. Or was there something else that we talked about that resonated with you about your time or your goals or your planning? But make that first decision to take action. What is that one thing you're going to start with, and get rocking and rolling? Thank you so much for your time and attention today. So my free gift to you is that book we were all just talking about, The Fearless Entrepreneurs. If you go out to that link I've got at the top of the page, you can download a free digital copy, and then you can read about my story, Sally's story, lots of people's stories that hopefully also give you some motivation and ideas about that entrepreneurial journey, if that is one that you would like to be on. As I said, my journey in this book is talking about my stroke recovery, and talks about the fact I built a business, had a stroke, rebuilt a business. So in addition to that book, you'll also find on this page the opportunity to schedule a triage session with me. So in a triage session, we look at what might be a roadblock to what you're trying to do and identify that next best step. So what's keeping you in your business or something you're working on in your personal life? What is that roadblock you keep running into? What's stopping you? And we'll talk through that. And like I said, identify your next best first step. So again, thank you for your time and attention. I appreciate the opportunity, Latara, to chat. And if you are here for the very first introduction of this coaching session that Latara and I are actually doing together, Journey to Success, your business navigation course. And I'm going to switch screens here for a second to walk through what the heck do you get in that?
We're
And
excited
that is-
about this because we put together something special just for you, never been released, brand spanking new.
That
Hot
is
off the
right.
presses.
Never been released before. You're hearing it for the first time, and I need to find the right screen. You know, it's all about prep, right?
It's all about anticipation.
Oh, here we go. All right, now we get. Yes, that's true. It's all about anticipation. You end up with too many slides that look alike. You're like, which one is this now?
Oh no.
Which one is that? Okay. So this is a fantastic opportunity to hang out with both Latara and I, which I don't know, you know, that should just be enough right there. I'm kidding. But as you can tell, we have fun.
Because
And,
we're often like that.
and we've talked for a while about, you know, we'd like to do some things together. So we are putting together my my course that goes through time navigation in detail. We do all those exercises I talked about, and charting your course. So again, what is your destination? How are you going to get there? What is that path?
Can you make it full screen, Alice?
Is it not quite full screen?
I think that
looks-
if you click on that little expanding arrow up in the right corner, you might be able to make it full screen.
Oh, hang on. It could be the fact that I've got those Zoom things in the way. Those Zoom things. Upper right corner.
The Zoom windows.
The Zoom windows. Thank you.
There we go.
It's magic. As we said, the time navigation, all about what are you doing with your time? What's the best thing? Some of those things like I walked through with those examples and we talked through with Christine of how to work around what you need to do, which may or not match up to your natural rhythms. I know when I have to be up early in the morning, there is music blasting because I'm like, what? I have to be up? What? I agreed to a meeting at 8:30? What was I thinking? And be able to work through that. Am I going the right way?
Mhm.
Okay.
You might have
So
been able to-
charting your courses is again the goal and the path to get there. And then Latara, what are you going to hang out and talk about?
I am going to show you my online presence blueprint. This is going to be 3 weeks. The first week is going to be the social media profile optimization. We will go through everybody who joins this course. We're going to go through and personally audit your personal profile on Facebook or LinkedIn or both if we have time, to find ways to optimize it. Like some people are not utilizing it the way that they can be, and we like to maximize that potential for you to attract your ideal clients, because people are going to be looking at you if they interact with you at a networking event, for example, and so they are like, okay, well, I want to friend this person, and they're going to go to your social media profile and they're going to spy on you a little bit. It's just the way things work these days. So you want to put your best foot forward when you have a profile on Facebook or LinkedIn or any other of the countless social media platforms out there. I like to focus on Facebook and LinkedIn personally, but it just depends on what your ideal audience, where your ideal audience hangs out. And then the next week is going to be the lead magnet creation. I'm going to show you how you can set up your own lead magnet on Canva. And then we can optimize your images across all of your online platforms to attract people to your lead magnet. And then the third week is going to be the sales funnel building, where you pull it all together. You have your lead magnet on your landing page. You have a funnel where you collect emails, and it's all about emails these days. That's where, your money is in the list. So we're going to show you how you can build your list with your lead magnet and your landing page. So that's that.
Fantastic. So look at all these really cool things you get. And for a value of $753, how much do you think you're going to pay? Because you are here for the initial launch, the very first step on the puzzle is $197. So Latara has built a great landing page and process for us. So if you go to journeytosuccess.now.site, that will take you through getting registered.
This is the beta launch, and this is the beta price. But we're going to be working a lot with you folks, one-to-one. Well, it's going to be in a group setting, but I'm expecting it to be an intimate setting where we can really give you some personal attention where you need it. And I really loved how Alice said, what is that next best step? Because no matter, you can have the blueprints to the kingdom, but if you're just missing that crucial step between where you are and where you want to be, that one little tiny step can keep you from moving forward. So we want to make sure that you're overcoming these obstacles, that you keep moving forward, you gain momentum, and ultimately leads to your success.
Well said, Latara. Leads to success. I like that.
All right.
Okay.
Well, I am going to go ahead and
yes.
Oops, there we are. Now I can see people.
There we go.
Yes, they are going to be recorded. That's a great question. We would like for you to be live, but if you can't make it live, you'll still take advantage of this. And sometimes you have to go back and rewatch things a couple of times in order to really maximize the value. So yeah, we definitely include the recordings. Kimberly, you have a question.
Yeah, I think it's a great value of what you offer. It's overall a great value. And so I'm sort of excited about it, particularly creating the lead magnet and sales funnel, because I know you need email lists, and I've started to generate that for myself several times and stop. And today just finally bought, I had a website before the pandemic and let it go during the pandemic because I took a federal position, and you're not really supposed to have a business.
Oh, wow.
And that was wonderful, the learning lessons from that and what I got out of that, but it almost destroyed my health. It was one of the highest paying, very, very, very high paying for 2 years. And so I've been out on my own since last June, and the things I've learned have been tremendous. Now I'm going to say to you, I love the time management part. A lot of it is what I share with my own clients. I help them construct a calendar that balances energizing and energy depleting activities. And all these high level academics, and to me, that they don't have their calendar in order, but that's another whole thing. Okay. But I got scared when you talked about optimizing your social media profile, because I have now taken 2 or 3 courses at least, and people have offered me insights on the side for like bartering. Like I did something for someone who's really good in social media marketing. And she said, if I want to do this audit of your profile, and then can you write me a recommendation? So each time I go with these folks and I pay them, most of them, they tell me to do something different. I pivot and I do it. And then the next person comes along and tells me that's not it. And,
Oh, no.
and that's happened 3 times I've paid for it, I think. And a couple of times I haven't, or I bartered, I traded off for something.
Mhm.
So that's kind of scary. Yet I will say to you that the other things that you're offering, if nothing, I think it would be a great opportunity for a lot of us just to get certain things done that we know need to be done, that we haven't been doing,
Exactly.
like the lead magnet. I don't know if you all know about Lady Strategists, but last night I downloaded, I don't know how many Canva templates from Lady Strategists for lead magnets, for all these kind of things. I took a course that's really good for women. And this was, they had a grant. It's the only thing I haven't paid for in getting this business up in the last 8 months, 9 months. It's called Dream Builder. So if any of you will put it on record, because some folks might be able to get it through their small business association or their women's business centers. It's been trialed it was started in South America. It's now in more than 100 and something countries. It's called Dream Builders.
Dream builders.
And in Dream Builders, oh boy, I was going to say, I can't remember what I was going to say, but something I really got from that, I don't know. And
It'll come back to you.
I took a course from someone who's really big on LinkedIn, went from 0 in 2016 to 7 figures now. And I paid for that one. And so I took 2 courses through January to last week. They were running the same time, and one was twice a week plus 13 modules, and another one was once a week, a few hours, and all this other work. And I completed it all. But I just feel like, so I know that these things that you're saying were needed, the sales funnel, the email list, the lead magnet, right? And I keep saying, well, I'm going to get to that, and these are my great ideas for lead magnets, right? And I'm going to do it, right, whatever. So I think that just for a lot of us, even being in those groups, like the Dream Builders course, or the other one that I paid someone, like the person on LinkedIn who's really big at what she does in women's empowerment and entrepreneurship, would just help some of us, because we might have the knowledge, but we get distracted by the shiny object syndrome and other things, right? Like this, I love this, but 2 hours, an evening, right? So I think that it could be really helpful to do it. And so I started this, raise my hand, because I would have to get ready to run in the car for this meeting, to say, thank you for offering this. I kind of got caught up in myself. I kind of went in a circle around myself. Thank you for offering this. Because the things you're offering are true value, and it's a great value for what you said, that you're asking for the fees for it. And wanting to reinforce that, because I was an entrepreneurship fellow at the university that I left, or I was a full professor. And so all these things, but it doesn't mean because you have the knowledge and the theory and all of that, or whatever it is, that you are always able to operationalize it or realize it on your own. And sometimes what helps are these courses like this I'm learning, where if I'm being accountable to you, I'm going to do it. I know that's, I have an accountability partner. I meet on Thursday afternoons, did something today just because I told her last Thursday I was going to do it, right? So that kind of stuff. So I wanted to say that's what I started just to say. I think it's of a great value. And if I know anyone who I think could benefit from it, I'm going to try to spread the word a little bit. So I wanted to say.
Thank you very much. I appreciate all of that. Thank you for the feedback. Perhaps audit was a strong word. It's not, I don't want to scare you.
No,
I'm not going to force you to do anything you don't want to do on your social media.
Let me try that. And then people are like, no, that was the wrong thing to do, and do it this way. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. Well, there are people that want you to adhere militantly to their strategy and their systems, but I want this to be more customized to you and what you want, because for me, I like to have my business all over my personal profile, and I have met people and talk to people that specifically want that segregation between their personal profile and their business page, which is perfectly fine because I will help them optimize their business page in that case. So yeah, I'll work with you. I'm not gonna, you do this.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, I'm not as afraid now.
Preference. Yeah. There are there's more than one way to do it right. So
Yes.
we're flexible.
Well, I'm
And
going to be
that's-
late again, but I have to go. But I want to thank you for the value here. This has really been
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you.
for
Thank
being
you.
And I'll
here.
have to watch
We
the
really
replay
appreciate it.
tomorrow night because I forgot and it told guests to arrive at 6 o'clock tomorrow. So I have to watch the replay. But I really
No worries.
appreciate this and thank you for it. Seriously.
Thank
No,
you.
And
thank you.
everybody, thanks to everyone.
Have a great
Good
night.
seeing you, Jacqueline, Sally, Christine, and everyone else. Have a great evening.
You too.
Thank you, you too.
All right.
Well, I was
I'm
just gonna
sorry,
add
go
one
ahead,
thing.
Alice.
I was just gonna add one thing in that both you and I are about customizing, for
Yes,
the needs
very
of the
much so.
client,
Very much so.
not the whole, here's the cookie cutter approach and this is what you have to do.
Yeah,
It's like, let's see
exactly.
what's going on with you and how this all fits into to
Right.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Alice. It's nice to have a system in place, but to have to compromise and sacrifice in order to stay within the rigid guidelines just don't work
Mhm.
for me. So
Mhm.
oh, I'm sorry that Jacqueline had to leave. I was gonna compliment her on her background because I wanted to ask her about her book, but hopefully she'll show up next time. All right. Well, I think that will conclude the Facebook Live portion of this experience, and we're gonna go behind the scenes now to the after party, and we hope that you enjoyed today's session. And I'm gonna I'm gonna tell you all about tomorrow's speaker because I keep forgetting to do that. Tomorrow's speaker is Shauna Smith. She is a branding and social media marketing expert, and she is going to talk to you about how your book is an extension of your brand. So tune in tomorrow for that, and we're going to bid you adieu and have a great night. Thank you so much. Thank you, Alice, for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you for the invitation.
Have a great day, everybody.